good shit right there. Andy, I see you nodding your head, man. Normally I scream and say, hey, happy Monday or happy Tuesday. But we got to give a shout out to Long Cut and their stuff. And Andy, I had to let you just hear it, man. It's country rap. It's like Florida Georgia Line, only they're country gangbangers just shooting shit up. And it's a buddy of mine from the Marine Corps, man. We were instructors together, and we knew he was great at it, dude, because he would just start rap battling us, like when we're running around getting ammo and other stuff. And you can't beat up your buddy who's rapping at you. You either rap back or you have to shut, and you can never rap back. So the hell with him, but he's awesome. Long Cut is awesome. I had to let you hear that. You'll hear it on the outro too, man. But super cool stuff. But everybody listening, I know you guys can find us on iTunes, Spotify, all that good stuff, YouTube, Facebook. But we've got a huge guest today. He's been beating my door down to just get a hold of me and have a chance to be on our little podcast. Super huge fan. For those of you guys listening, you know we come from a fitness background and an entrepreneur background, and we grind, and we've been documenting every day what we're doing. Not just trying to wait until we make it, if we ever make it there, right? But Andy Frisella is on the podcast today. We've been promoting it. People are super excited. Andy, what's up, my man?
Oh, not much, brother. I appreciate you guys having me on the show. This is exciting for sure.
It's really cool, man. Like I reached out on your platform because you've got a connection that says, hey, if you think Andy's a good fit for your podcast, submit. So how this all came into I was like, yeah, I could do Andy a favor. He could. Right? Hey, man. I said it.
You know what? I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
I think this is why you're the people's champion. People just love you, dude, because you're definitely extremely successful. We're going to get into that, but you're still around for the homies, man, and you still want to hook us up and just do cool stuff. And obviously, by far, this is a huge favor to be on our platform, and we appreciate it. But it was cool, man. Like I submitted, and then I think like a couple weeks later, man, your wife reached out, and I thought it was spam, dude. I was like, no way, dude. She's like, hey, I dug into you a little bit. I kind of phoned and seen who you guys are. I think you'd be a great fit. And I was like, all right, if there's ever a spam to like lose all my credit card information off my phone on, it's risking it on this one. And nope, she responded, and it was awesome. Emily's super cool. It wasn't spam, thank God, right? Like,
that's cool, man.
Really cool. So super humbled, man, and really appreciate just the leadership you provide, and just again, as busy as you are, you're on this podcast and hanging out with us. And but yeah, man, I want to get right into it. I know we only have you for so much time, but day $1 you guys know how this goes. It's hey, what was your literal day $1? What are the stories in between? But just for some context, I know you're a humble dude, but for the listeners who might not know you and they're looking you up as we speak, give us a rundown on just who you are, man, and what you're all about.
Yeah, I'm just a normal man. I just do my thing. I got started in entrepreneurship when I was pretty young. Doing the baseball card thing, and then, selling snow cones and lemonade and light bulbs and all that kind of stuff. And then, as I went through school, I struggled in school, man. I was never a good student. I was a good test taker, but I wasn't good at like paying attention in class. Mm-hmm. And, I knew I wasn't going to go out and get a real job and all that shit. So I went to college because I was supposed to, right out of high school, and my first semester, I knew that wasn't going to be my path. And so what I did was my business partner and I got together, and we came up with a plan for a sports nutrition retail store. And we opened that, and we had $12,000 between the two of us that we got from painting stripes on the parking lots. That was our summer job. Mm-hmm. And so we opened, and, we had $10,000 worth of inventory, and everybody was coming in and being like, dude, you guys getting ready to close down? And I never knew what that meant. Like, I was always like, what are you talking about? We're going to kick ass. But our store was totally empty. So like now I look back and I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah. They thought we were going to close. But I was oblivious to it, and we did we poured everything into that. We lived in the back of that first store. The first day in sales, we sold $7. The next day we sold 0. The next day after that, we sold 23. It took us 8 months to have a day over $200. It took us 6 years to get a second store open. Wow. And, fast forward, that was, let's see. That was 99 when we started. And so we're in 2020, and now we own a bunch of different companies, including that same retail company. But we also own the company most people are familiar with is First Form. Right. It's a big nutritional supplement brand that's does very well. And then, I own a bunch of different things, all the way from cannabis to supplements to tequila to a bunch of other stuff that we've got going on. So all in all, we're going to do close to $500 million in sales this year between those companies. And we're small business dudes who've just been at it a long time. And I know, people see the success and they see our companies growing, but I mean, dude, we've been grinding for 22 years, and we just happen to be lucky that we started when we were young. So, I mean, when people, a lot of times people celebrate that and they think it's, like this crazy success story. It's really not, dude. It's really the result of us just showing up every day and doing what the fuck we can do. Yeah. And I believe that anybody that shows up for 22 years and puts in that focus and that effort can really get to wherever they want, probably a lot further than what we got.
Well, it's fun for us too, right? Because we've been watching you grow, man. We watched, when First Form was like literally before the tip of the iceberg, right, came up out of the water. Like we saw, we probably still didn't see everything. We saw before it was huge in the fitness community. We saw it become huge in the fitness community. Two questions I've got for you. One is I want to talk about anxiety a little bit because I think we've all got it. I definitely have some. I put a lot of pressure on myself. I know I put a lot of standards and pressure on my business partner. In return, he's got standards and pressure on me. We're raising families. We got young kiddos. We're eating tuna at gas stations and we're grinding. I guess my first question for you, man, is like, what, when you were first starting out, what was that anxiety like, right? And then correlating that to where you're at today, I'm sure more money, more problems, right? Or the bigger you are, the different the problems. But is the anxiety still the same, or are you better at managing it? Does it ever quite go away? Are you just better prepared at how you recognize it and handle it? Like for example, for myself, I recognized a little bit of that in myself this week, and I was able to just stay calm and do my thing. But I felt it like, hey, you know what? I think this and this is like, I think I've got some anxiety, some pressure. Okay, cool. What can I do to work that out and feel better about it? Versus having any blow-ups or just taking things out on people or just having that bottled up emotion inside. What was that like when you first started? And then how do you combat that now if it's still there?
Well, when I first started, I think I was ignorant to what I was doing, to be completely honest. It was more like, oh yeah, dude, we're gonna hit a home run and we're gonna get rich and we're gonna bang chicks and fly around on jets and do all the shit, and that was how we started. So there was no anxiety. I was just a kid trying to be cool. And but when I I didn't really have any of the problems like that until and this is really weird. Dude, we're going, it's hand to mouth. You know what I'm saying? Nothing's fitting together. The ends are not coming together. But we were just having a good time making it work, whatever we did.
Right.
And I actually had less anxiety then than what I experienced towards the middle part. So when we got into a situation where it was like we went from 2 stores to 6 stores literally in one day because another company that we competed with closed, and we worked out a deal to take over their operation. When we took over their operation and we went from just me and Chris to me and Chris, plus I'm responsible for all these other people now, that changed. I started to think about it differently. It wasn't just about me anymore, but it was still about me. And so I was not a very good leader. I was very immature in my leadership ability. I'm sure that some of the people that worked for me back then probably don't care for me that much, to be completely honest. But that's what happens when you're learning. You fuck shit up. Right. And I went through a phase. We went through a phase of growth in 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, where we grew 100% every year in sales.
Wow.
And during that time was probably the most anxiety I ever had in my life. And that time I actually had a real nervous breakdown. I spent time in the hospital. And I got, I started struggling with real depression issues, like suicidal thoughts all the time, constantly. And a lot of people hear that shit on TV and they think like, oh, if you're having suicidal thoughts, I used to hear that shit and be like, what the fuck are they talking about?
Yeah.
But I started having suicidal fantasies where I'm fantasizing about shooting myself in the back of my fucking throat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that happened at the time when we were having the most growth. And it was overwhelming, and it's kind of a paradox, right? I was less worried about it when shit was worse, And I was more worried about it when things got better. And, I lived like that for a number of years. I would say from 2012 to about 2016, I really, really, really struggled with that darkness, man. And then I started in 2016. I let myself go. I've always been a good athlete. I've always stayed in decent shape, but I got really fat, and I was 350 pounds. And, I was making more money than I ever made. I was kicking ass, and, from the outside, everything's cool, right? Like I got this great wife. I got a nice house. I'm making money. I got cool companies, got cool cars. All the shit's cool, but I'm fat as fuck and miserable. And I had a little come to Jesus with myself. Hey, bro, you're being really selfish. We're never going to get where we want to go unless you start taking care of yourself and become a peak performer. And the funny thing was, dude, at that time, I was a world-class speaker already. Mm-hmm. Like I was traveling the world, getting paid, I think at that time I was getting 50 grand an hour to speak, and I'm 350 fucking pounds. So like, I look back at videos of that and I'm like, God, dude, you're the fucking worst hypocrite in the face of the earth. You're up there talking about how people need to get their shit together. You don't even have your shit together.
Right.
And, And that time was really hard. My anxiety was really high. But what I discovered and how I figured out how to deal with this was that my anxiety was tied to my discipline. Okay. Mm. So when I started to do the things that I know I should be doing, when I became when I became consistent with my workouts, when I became consistent with my food, when I became consistent with my work quality, and I started taking things serious again, because dude, we went through this phase where like I'm broke, I'm working my ass off, start making some money. You're kind of like, oh yeah, dude, this is cool. I could chill. and then all the shit comes on. And so that was where I kind of learned, that saying that everybody says like about how, these rich dudes, they're miserable and they kill themselves and shit.
Yeah.
Like that's where I started to learn what that was about. And that was really about not having a real purpose. Yeah. And so I had to retrain myself to make my purpose somewhat selfish. Like I have to take care of me so that I can take care of everybody else.
And giving yourself permission to do so, right? Bro. Like not to interrupt you, but you are a huge Care Bear, and there's a phase that I remember when you started doing fitness giveaways, and I'll talk about that here in a moment, but I relate to what you're talking about so much, man, because like my life had gotten better before. I don't mean to choke up. I remember when I first moved back home and I had just become a cop, man, and I was making a little bit of money, and my sister and I split a townhome, and it was like, oh, so cool. And I still had buddies on deployment, and I felt so guilty to even enjoy it, right? Mm-hmm. Like it wasn't my place to enjoy something when guys that I used to serve with were on deployment and in harm's way, and I slept on the floor for 6 months and just couldn't handle that, and you want to put out, and I'm still a giver, and I still care, and that's how we approach our business, but at some point, like you just have to have that conversation, right? To just give yourself permission to take care of yourself as well. And it's so cliche, right? Because it's so easy to say, but before you know it, man, it's like erosion. Like you especially when you're successful at doing everything else for everyone else, and it's working, you literally negate like, hey, like, and if someone were to even tell you like, hey, you should probably take care of yourself, like, it's so hard to hear because everything else is working. You think you are taking care of yourself because you're living this purpose and giving out, when in reality, like you've got to dawn and clear this first, man. And super intimate when you're talking about like some of your challenges, especially toward a guy like me, that can definitely relate to what you're talking about. And I think, a lot of listeners, hear that too. And what was that like for you, man? Like giving yourself permission and then, cool, I've got to get myself back into shape and just get a handle on this. One, I'm sure it was for image and just like you say, not being that hypocrite, but what did that look like? What was the start, right? That's always hardest for people, right? Is that start and like you're motivated, you're going to go for a run and David Goggins has you all jazzed up, but then you're on that run and you go, oh, yeah, there's no adrenaline. This run fucking sucks, right? Like what moment was it like, man? Or what conversations were you having yourself when you were giving yourself that permission, but then starting that process of just getting back into a better shape, better energy, just better you?
Dude, I think I would say at first, and I'm just being real, dude. Like at first, it was image based. It was like, bro, you're fat. Because dude, like I was like way more cocky back then, if that makes sense. Like it's almost weird. Like the worse I was, the cooler I thought I was. And so, you know, at that time I'm like, you know what? I don't give a fuck if I'm fat, but like it will help the company if I get in shape.
Right.
And that's how it started. And I wanted to show people too, dude. Like I wanted to show people, because I got tired of people talking shit, because they would say the obvious shit, like, hey, bro, why are you doing all this motivation shit, but you're fucking fat?
Yeah.
And you know, it made me real mad, but it wasn't wrong. And so you know, what really happened, bro, is I had pneumonia, and I was sitting on the couch, and I remember I didn't go to work for like 3 weeks because I had it real bad. And I was watching that movie Pacific Rim over and over and over again. And I remember like looking at my phone, seeing the sales come in and being like, fuck, dude, we're kicking it. We're kicking ass. Everything's good. But I don't feel good. Like I'm not happy. And I started to click like, yeah, because you're not doing any of the shit that you preach about. And so when I started that, you know, fitness and physical pain and sports, that's always been a part of my life. So I kind of dealt with it, right? And my motivation was always the same as it is for most guys. Like, what's our motivation? Our motivation is to look good so we can get some, you know what?
Yeah.
If you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play
right.
good. Yeah. Absolutely.
But like when we get older, you know, and as I got older, I started to realize that it wasn't about how I looked. It was about how I felt mentally. And so I started to piece together all the little pieces that would, that made me feel good, man, you know, and I could look in the mirror at the end of the day and say, yeah, motherfucker, you did exactly what you were supposed to do. Now you can rest.
Yeah.
And dude, I just, you know, the first couple times I actually executed it, and, you know, dude, it just felt right. And what I noticed is my anxiety level started to come down. Because when you're doing everything that you can do and everything you're supposed to do, at the end of the day, you look yourself in the mirror and you're like, well, what the fuck else could I have done?
Right.
And dude, when you're in that position, it's really hard to feel anxious about anything, because you know that there's nothing else you could have done to make it better.
And it's so important it's so important, like that piece right there, not to cut you off again.
Yeah.
It's so important right there, because for all of our listeners, right, entrepreneurs, this is not black and white. This is super abstract as fuck. Our job is never done. If you've got a typical 9-to-5 job, right, and if you're like, for example, UPS route, just for hypotheticals here, when your truck is empty, you're done. You're done for the day. Entrepreneur world, right? And it's no disrespect to drivers. I super appreciate what they do, but for the sake of the example, in entrepreneur world, there's always more to do. There's always more to look at or question or dive into. That's why, like, if you're not okay with yourself and taking care of that, there's no way you're going to handle the intangibles of entrepreneurship and the anxiety that can build. And whether you can look yourself in the mirror at night and go, yes, I've done enough, enjoy my kiddos. Like, you've got to have that regiment. And I think for one, right, 75 hard is amazing. We're going to get to that in a minute. But 75 hard and just any type of like physical and mental. And by the way, physical is mental if people haven't figured that out, right? It's a physical vehicle that just gives you examples of, are you regimented? Are you putting in the type of effort and accountability that says you've earned something? That way you'll have a parameter. So when you're handling all of these intangibles in this abstract world of entrepreneurship, you can look at something for a day and go, yeah, not everything's done. I got 20 years to go, but today is done. I've done the work today, right? And did you taking care of your person like that, taking care of yourself, did it help with your business endeavors and the decisions you were making and how you were handling that? Did they kind of go hand in hand? Was one improving the other?
Dude. Yeah. I mean, look, man, like when I say like depression, like I'm not talking about, you know, like I feel sad. Like I'm talking about like I can't fucking move. Like I'm talking about like I can't get out of bed. People who struggle with like severe depression, it'll manifest itself, and you guys may know this because maybe you struggle with it. A lot of veterans do, and those things. I understand that.
Right.
But you guys know that, like, dude, it manifests itself into physical pain. And what people don't realize, you know, they see these commercials for depression, and it makes me fucking laugh because, like, there's a commercial on TV about depression that shows this woman that doesn't want to do her fucking laundry, and she's sitting on the bed, and it says like, do you not enjoy the things you used to enjoy? And she's sitting on her bed, like, you know,
like you're supposed to choke for joy with laundry.
Like, motherfucker, nobody wants to do laundry.
Yeah, man.
What the fuck are we talking about? And like, I think the perception of depression is almost like
you're supposed to be happy all the time.
Yeah, bro, it's overused. So like, it's like, oh, well, you're in a bad mood. You must be depressed. Take this pill. And I by no means buy into that. Right. But you know, in real, like when you really have it, like, dude, like there'd be days I couldn't open my eyes. Like my eyes would get like this, like my head fucking hurt, like really bad shit. And, you know, what I realized is that the more I did what I was supposed to do, the less I felt that way. And the less I felt anxiety, the less I felt depression. And I'm not saying it cured it, because I still have days where I'm fucking off, and I can tell that that's trying to creep in sometimes, but like I'm aware enough now of it to I know what to do to stop it. And what I do to stop it is get up and do the shit I was supposed to do.
And it's so important, man. I really, we're hearing some stuff we've never heard, and I listen to all your content. We're hearing some stuff from you today, man, that I've never heard, but it's so appreciated, because here's the deal. There's some great veterans out there, man, that are doing some cool stuff, taking care of other veterans. And, you know, you talking about just depression and suicide, I think just where the rubber meets the road is just successful dudes that have been through some shit that just find a way to just pay it forward to those that are coming after them and go, hey, man, that was me. I'm a practitioner of depression and suicide, and here's how I made it. It's so much more, it just resonates with people that are going through it versus a commercial or a psychologist that's never gone through it, but they're supposed to, you know, counsel them on it. Like it just doesn't resonate. It's the same thing with veterans, man. When you have other successful veterans that are putting on suicide prevention nonprofits and bringing people up. A buddy of ours, Brian Shantosh, he's receiving the Medal of Honor very soon. Good buddy of mine. I served with him, right? Look him up, Brian Shantosh. He's a bad dude. He does a lot of great stuff, and it's like, man, we got to take care of our own. And I think entrepreneurship, depression, and suicidal thoughts, or if you're even meant for entrepreneurship or not, it is getting so romanticized. It's almost not fair to some of the youngsters that are getting into it, and it's going to be on them to figure that out, right? But I do think this conversation right here, we could have a whole podcast channel dedicated to just how do you handle yourself and your family and the things that you're going to go through while you're diving through this, and just be prepared for it. You know what I mean? And it's so appreciated, you know, that you're talking about it. I've got one more question for you before I let Eli maybe steal the mic for a second. I remember you did, right as you guys were popping off in my eyes, right? When it might not be the real pop off, but when I started seeing it from the fitness community, you started doing these athlete challenges, searches, and never in the fitness community, in my opinion, no disrespect to bodybuilding shows and all this bullshit, they got to pay a fuck ton of money for their diet and their supplements and their actual supplements. And then I was watching guys go on stage. They want to compete in 2 different classes. They had to pay twice. And they're getting slammed, right? And they're broke. And then Annie Frisella comes out saying, I'm throwing 25 grand at fucking finding me athletes, and started paying it forward to the athlete and taking care of people. And holy shit, right? So first part of this question was, where did that come from as far as like how you've created ideas to just take care of people? Because I'm sure that athlete search started before it went viral, before it went national. I bet on a local level you were taking care of dudes, but how did you, where did this taking care of others kind of come from? Where did that idea come from? And what are you guys doing now to still take care of that community?
Yeah, so it's kind of a long answer, but it's important for the context. You know, back when Chris and I just had the one retail store, you know, we didn't see customers. There'd be time where there'd be 2-3 days where we wouldn't see anybody.
Wow.
So we had a lot of time to bullshit, right? We spent a lot of time throwing the tennis ball back and forth inside the store. Like he'd sit on the one side, I'd sit on the other side, and we, you know, you know what I'm saying? Like just talk shit. Yeah. And dude, I'm talking like hundreds of hours of conversation. And, you know, we used to talk like, hey, okay, we would break the industry down. We would say, these guys do it right. These guys do it wrong. These guys do some shit right, some shit wrong. Here's how it should be. And you know, in our mind, we never really thought we'd have a chance to do those things. So really the idea for First Form started back before 2006, where it was just me and Chris in one store every day. And it took us a long time to get to a point where we had enough sales and profit to start rolling it into that company. And we didn't start First Form until 2009. So the idea, so it's kind of weird. You know, we ran with First Form for a couple of years, basically just selling it in our own retail stores. Right. And when we wanted to start putting it out there, you know, it was that transition time from where everybody was going from the bodybuilder magazines to Instagram. Mm-hmm. And we were not the first company to really capitalize on Instagram, but we were up there in the beginning. And we came in, and dude, I looked around at the industry, right? And I saw like all these companies from like South Florida and all these companies from California, and they all got like big fucking watches and slick back hair, like fucking pointy shoes and shit. And like, I'm like, well, that ain't us. Like, I can remember, dude, we were sitting in a meeting at the old headquarters, me, my brother, one of our creative people, and we were sitting there talking. And we're like, bro, we got to decide who the fuck we are. Yeah. And so who are we? Well, we're regular dudes from Missouri. We fucking shoot guns. We drink beer. We work out, and we're good to people. And so we started to form around the people's brand because, dude, that's what we feel like we are. We feel like we're regular people from the Midwest.
Right.
And so who's going to represent regular people from the Midwest? Well, there wasn't anybody out there that was famous that could represent that. It was all the same kind of people, dude, this overly polished Instagram character. And so we decided that, like, look, we're going to do something different. We're going to try to pick customers to represent our brand. And that's what we did. And we started the first athlete search in 2014. We picked 4 or 5 athletes that year, and we ran with them for the last 6 years. And I think all of them are still on the team.
Wow. I feel like I was up there. I feel like I was on there somewhere. Maybe you passed over my
cut, but
I'm here now. Am I model?
Hey, I got you, bro. I got you.
Oh man,
I know a guy.
Yeah, so, keep going. I'm sorry about that.
But yeah, dude. So we just and then we started going into the transformation. So one of the biggest things about, you ask how we focus on people. Mm-hmm. Well, the first 10 years of business that we were in there, we didn't focus on people. We focused on us. We focused on making money, which we made none. We focused on how much we could sell, which we didn't sell a lot. All right. And the reason we never put together that the reason we never got any traction was because we were worried about us and not them. And so in 2010-ish, we had a period where we considered walking away from the company, and we decided, well, what do we like? What do we enjoy about this? Well, the one thing that we both said that we enjoyed more than anything was when we could take someone who was depressed and 100, 200 pounds overweight and literally whip them into something over the course of 6 to 8 months. And they come back in the store and they're fucking crying and they're giving you a hug. Bro, there's nothing like that because it's real impact.
And it's everything. So, it's family. It's people at the store. It's the text messages, the phone calls, the trainer keeping in contact. It's that person feeling like they belong. It has nothing to do with, well, it does, but it's not just drink this shake, eat these foods. It's the community around the people that even make that person willing to start it in the first place. And I think anybody that comes from depression, or if they've had to lose weight before, or you leave the military and you have a hard time just identifying back into society, you have felt that before. And that's why, man, it was just so huge watching you do that, because you weren't just talking about being for their people. Like, you were taking these extraordinary actions that, man, even in Denver, like I was in Denver at the time, I'm still in Denver. We're a pretty big fitness community. Your shit was loud here, man. Like your shit out there was loud here. Everybody was wearing it, and people want to be a part of something bigger than themselves, but you were actually doing it, not just talking about it. And it was huge, man. It was huge.
Yeah. Yeah, well, dude, and then it rolled into, we built a transformation app called My Transformation Starts Today, and we started to do transformation contests, and now they've grown to where every 8 weeks we're giving away $50,000 for people who wins. So, I mean, and then we're running athlete search still. But I mean, the point is that, dude, we fucking, we're just regular people, bro. Yeah. We're just regular people who want other people to win. And that has been reciprocated by the people, right? So when you care about people as an entrepreneur and you care about your customers and you make it your mission, they're going to care about you back. And a lot of people just don't have the courage to do that because they feel like over the last, fucking 50 years, you've had every sales guru trying to get online and talk about how to trick customers out of their money. Right. That's really not the key, dude. It has nothing to do with our success. I can tell you that.
Right.
Maybe some people do well with that, but I don't know any. All the companies I know that do well, they either create a community that's real, or their products are so good that there's nothing else there's no other option.
Especially with so many options nowadays. The internet is so lucrative. Everything is so lucrative. It's like Baskin Robbins, man. Like people, there's so many flavors. People have no idea where to go now. It's the opposite, right? Everything is too accessible. So your reputation and what people have to say about you is still going to be most trustworthy, man. Like in Eli and I, that's what we didn't do any leads. We don't buy off of Zillow or Realtor.com. We did 119 deals last year, all referral based, awesome. Right? And it's all just taking care of people, man, and just doing the right things. And it was just extraordinary when you were doing that. And as far as like the athlete search, you started doing camps on top of that, right? Like bringing people together. How important was that? Like you've got athletes, I'm sure, from different states or different parts of town, but how important was it to you to get some of these good people around one another to just create something there awesome, and take it back with them?
I mean, that was more so like, hey, dude, these people are that wasn't like by design. Like, hey, we're going to create this thing. And
it was just fun. It was just like, let's get everybody together kind of thing.
Yeah, right. It was like, hey, dude, we like these people. Let's have them out to our house. Yeah. And that's what we did. And, you know, we fucking post the content, we make it, it's all real, it's all genuine. And, you know, it just works, bro. And honestly, like in my opinion, if you look at our American flag and you think about what our country is supposed to represent, meaning equal opportunity, diversity, you know, getting along, positive impact, pulling people together. Dude, First Form represents that almost perfectly. And dude, when I look at like how things I think should be in this country, I look at our own company. I look at people from all different backgrounds, all different walks of life, all different life experiences getting together to do good shit together.
And for the people, by the people.
Yeah,
like,
bro.
Stop waiting for your government to do something or be a different way. Like it's at some point like the big brothers of America, like you, right? I would consider you a big brother of America, successful leader.
I haven't made it to uncle yet.
No, bro. No. You're big brother, bro. You're closer than uncle, dude. You're big brother, but it's for the people, by the people, and just all of it, like just leadership and guys that are successful coming up and rallying people together and like not relying on government or anything else. No. To just keep us together. And we've heard you talk on your podcast about that. That'd be a whole nother day, man. We have very similar thoughts on that.
I'm happy to come on again, dude. I like you guys already. Like I can tell you're my people.
Hey, if you need some realtor athlete models, we do a calendar. We do, you know, like we'll put a calendar together for some soccer moms, whatever, dude.
I'm just saying, man, your sleeves are screaming right now.
Yeah, well,
dude, they are.
I got stung by a couple bees on my way in voluntarily just to make sure I look good. And no, man, it's been Eli. I'm sure you've got a couple questions for him as well. I know we only got you for a couple more minutes, man. We won't push you too much.
Yeah, we got about 15 minutes.
Okay, cool.
Perfect,
cool,
man. I'm just curious. So with us, man, obviously day $1 we hear a lot about your day $1 and I'm curious with the success that you found now and everything that's popped off. How do you still maintain that day $1 mentality? You know, that frame of mind when you were making $695 a month for 10 years or however long that was. Yeah. I'm sure you still apply those principles to your business now. And what does that look like?
Yeah.
For
how
you
are
guys?
You still a dog?
Yeah.
So dude, so that's a really good question. And I think, you know, you have to figure out how to give yourself zero options. If you can't cultivate a zero options mentality within yourself, even when it's not actually true, you're going to have problems competing because we're always competing against people who actually have zero options, right? Yeah. Like for me, for real, and I know this is going to sound stupid compared to like where I'm at in life right now. I feel like if I don't show up every day and do what I got to do, I'm going to go back to sleeping in that mattress.
Fuck, like, dude.
I don't
100%. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And dude, people always say to me, well, dude, you know, you need to take it easy. You know, you've already made it. Motherfucker, I haven't made shit. I'm trying to be the next Nike plus Gatorade mixed together, man. We're not even on. Nike's not having meetings about First Form. No. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, my goals are so huge that I know I'm not shit. So it's part one, like learning how to cultivate that mentality. And a big part of that is understanding that if you're not feeling that way, if you don't feel like your back's against the wall, somebody else does, and they're probably going to beat you.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we can't, this is the trick. When you start getting some momentum and you start getting some money coming in, and you start, you get your first nice house. You're comfortable. You're able to go to dinner with your boys and not look at the bill. You're driving a car you're proud of. You kind of feel like you're the shit. It's hard. It's very, very important that you allow yourself to feel that way. Okay. But you also remember and remind yourself that you ain't shit. And so that's a hard thing to do consistently when you're winning. So the way that I've done that and the way I've been able to do that consistently over time is that when I start feeling like things are good, when I start feeling like things are going the way that they should go, and I get a little bit comfortable, I expand my vision, I expand my goals. I take my goal from here and I make it here. Or if it's here, I make it this.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like a reset, so that way I can walk in to our meeting on Tuesday and I can say, hey guys, we ain't shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's the truth. And it is the truth, because if our goal is this and we're only this, then it's true. So what I do is I try to make that true. I try to make it true. No matter how good we're doing, I figure out a way to compare us to something that makes us nothing. And that's the trick, man. And so
how important are your people for that, man? Like, how important are the people you decide to hang with? I'm sure you've got a couple close friends. I'm sure you have a couple other friends that or acquaintances that are also maybe well known, who knows? But how important is your family structure at home? How important are the people that are also like around in business that are friends of yours that contribute to your energy or your vision?
It's everything. Yeah. It's everything. I have a meeting every Tuesday. And then I have a ton of meetings, but I have two particular meetings. I got a meeting for my personal team on Mondays, and then I got a board meeting on Tuesdays. And between those two groups, those are my ride or die people. Those are the people that we build shit with and work with, and they're all bought in. And part of that comes from them just being along for the journey. Part of that comes from, they're hungry too. And dude, we just all play our role. You know what I'm saying? And, but as far as like surrounding yourself with the right people, here's the one thing I'll say about that. If you surround yourself with anybody who sucks your energy, with anybody who takes your focus, with anybody who brings negativity into your life on a somewhat consistent basis, even if it's not every day, those people have to be moved out of your life, because we only have, okay, first of all, this game we're playing, entrepreneurship, is fucking hard. It's the most competitive game that's ever played, ever. And it's cutthroat as fuck. There's no referee throwing a flag for personal misconduct. Like, it's cutthroat, and people don't realize that. And so the biggest thing that you have to understand is that when you move forward, when you focus, when you get things moving the way you want, you have to understand that it's really just the beginning all the time, right? None of you, like you guys or me, we weren't born with greatness. We weren't born with silver spoons. We weren't born with a trust fund and all this other shit. I mean, maybe you guys were, but I fucking wasn't.
Nah, we were broke as fuck.
But like, dude, we've got to cultivate that mental toughness in our brain so that we can execute properly and get shit done. And I just think reminding yourself, is a good balance. Like, hey, sometimes you are the shit, but you're only the shit for a couple hours. And then you got
to move forward, right? Just like people have to, like, hey, take what you can from failure, move forward. You have a success. Run an after action report.
The rule I use for that is just 24 hours to celebrate. So if you hit a big milestone, celebrate for 24 hours. After that, move forward.
Right.
If like if you're still talking about, the sales fucking award that you won 2 months ago, you're fucking, you don't get it.
I got an interesting comment for that. And you got to find new challenges. Like, the whole reason we did a 24-hour endurance challenge, 24 hours nonstop of just physical endurance. It was gnarly, dude. I drug Eli's punk ass with me.
Yes, you did.
But it's because, man, like, my kiddos, I've got a daughter, she's 10. My wife's asking me stuff about things I did with the Marine Corps and what SOCOM was like. And I'm like, am I a story already? Like, hey, motherfucker, I'm still badass. And it's like, are you still badass? I don't know, bro. Like, you sell houses. That's cute. Are you sure? And I'm like, okay, No, man. And I'm having this conversation with myself, like, I'll shoot you, bro. Like, no, I'll shoot you, bro. Like, and then ironically, man, my buddy's running these diesel days. I go, fuck it, man. I'm gonna go run a 24-hour Ironman. You know, not Iron. It's different physical stuff, but it's nonstop, and we did it. And the other thing was like the 75 hard, and it keeps you on your edge, and it keeps you sharp, and it keeps things from being perishable. And I've got another good question for you, man. I guess in my opinion, good question, because you're such a good dude. You know, the front side of the question was, you know, putting people around you and how important that is. The other side is, how well has just being loyal to people, doing good things for your friendships, right? Like I have a big thing, and I talk about responsibilities of friendship. My responsibility to Brian Shantosh, my brother, my friend, my responsibility to my business partner, Eli, my responsibility to my friends, and what that means to me and what I should be doing for them. And one, I think it helps keep your circle small, because if you do have a standard of, hey, if I'm someone's friend or business partner or brother, there's a responsibility that comes with that. And the more I have focused on my responsibility in support and whatever it may be, it's helped me be a better decision maker with how many people I'm letting into my circle. Because one, you can't let them down. Secondly, if you don't feel like being that person, and you wouldn't, hey, if you can't call me at 2 a.m., no questions asked, and I'm flying to your house, if I feel uncomfortable doing that, maybe I shouldn't have you in my circle. And so I kind of see it that way. But is there anything you can relate to on that, and any responsibilities you have to your partners or your friends that you feel good about doing, that you've paid it forward, or that helps you with that?
Dude, I think the best thing that we can do for our friends is to be the example, man. You know, a lot of times we get caught up in trying to pull people along that don't really know what that looks like. So I was just telling DJ today, we were doing our cardio. You know, I get messages every day from people that I've never met, never heard of, never fucking talked to. And they say, hey, dude, I've never talked to you before, but I just want you to know the fact that you are consistent every single day, 7 days a week, and I know what you're doing gives me the drive to do what I need to do. And I just want to say thank you. And like, dude, I've never talked to these people. So imagine what it's like for your family or your friends or the people close to you to continue to see you execute 7 fucking days a week for years at a time. Bro, the separation will happen naturally. People will just start saying, fuck, dude, I ain't on that level, and they'll go away.
Yeah.
And then some people will say, fuck, dude, I ain't on that level, but I'm trying to be on that level, so I'm going to support them. Those people can stay. And then obviously the people who are willing to jump in and fucking go to war with you on themselves, those people are the ones that you want to spend the most time around. So I feel like that when you set the example, you know, most of this discussion, you know, like
takes care of itself.
MySpace rankings back in the day. Tom is number 1 and Susie's number 2.
Hell yeah.
That shit organizes itself when you start living to your own standard, in my opinion.
Right, that's just where the integrity falls.
Yep.
No, it's huge, man. I think it's been a huge decision maker for me is, hey, if I don't have that type of care or loyalty or responsibility to someone, man, maybe you shouldn't be adding anybody to your circle. Maybe you should make sure that the people that are in your circle, hey, are they taking care of you? Are they supporting you? You better support back, and you better make sure you have time for that, because if you're still out here trying to acquire or grow new relationships, man, and you're not taking care of the ones that are there for you, it's a big deal. And like you say, if you are, it'll take care of itself.
Dude, I found like my circle, so I have my core guys here, right? Like these are people, like, dude, if you come here, you're going to see people that were in my family or in my family. You're going to see people who have been with me for 10, 15, 16 years. These are dudes that like I would do anything for. Like you said, go fly across the country, you know, bury a body, whatever the fuck we got to do. That's how we roll. But, you know, we didn't get there one day. We didn't get there overnight. We got there through working together, struggling together, respecting each other, and everybody's sort of keeping the pace. When you don't have people that will keep the pace with you, when you're holding the standard that's true to you, do they really belong in your life at all? I don't think they do.
No, and it's just a good rule of thumb, and a big question I've had too, and I think it's a good timing for it. Eli and I,
I want to say too, bro, that's okay.
Yeah.
By the way, that's okay. That's
more
not
than
like a
okay.
negative thing. Like, hey, if you can't fucking keep up with my pace, fuck you. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
What I'm saying is we only have so much energy.
Yeah.
Right.
And we have to fill it with people who challenge us, who push us to be better, because this world is a competitive place. So we need to understand that, dude, there's certain people that are going to fit in with certain places.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that, dude. Sometimes people are happy. We all have different things we trade off, right? Like, I don't have kids because, dude, there's no fucking way I could have kids, first of all, because I'm way too fucking busy. Now, there's things I don't do. Like, I haven't been on a vacation since 2012, bro. Damn. You know what I'm saying? That's the truth. Yeah. And people think, oh,
me either.
Yeah. So like, but people see, you know, the success thing and they think, oh, this must be fucking great. No. If you like getting your nuts kicked in every day, it's fucking awesome. I just happen to like it because I see it as a test. I see it as an opportunity to pass. I see it as an opportunity to improve myself and level up.
And that's just how you tick. I think people need to understand that too, right? Like when, you know, that's you. And if you're okay with yourself and what you're doing and you have the integrity with that self-awareness of like, hey, this is me. If the thought of me burns you out, hey, that's cool, man. Because I'm not telling you that your 9 to 5 sucks. I'm not trying to talk you into something else. Don't talk me out of, and like, especially for a guy like me, man, and having to like reintegrate back into society, be successful, have a civilian business partner. There's a ton of growth there. But at the same time, like, there's just things that make me tick, and I'm okay with that. That's me, right? Like, that's just how I tick. And it's a little off, but it fucking shoots straight. I promise you that, you know?
Like, I have people in my family, bro, that they're not wired like me, right? We all do. And that's okay, dude. I love them too. But I can't have them in my ear all the time.
Is your brother wired like you?
Oh, yeah.
So, I've got a question for that. Eli and I are pretty much brother. We're together all day, every day. We've, you know, top 1% worldwide Berkshire, top 0.5%. But we're expanding. So we're still eating tuna at a gas station, like making sure we're paying bills and doing our thing. And we're together every single day. And we've been doing that for, you know, we have some great achievements, but like you said, we have a lot more we want to accomplish. What's your advice to Eli and I as brothers, man? 3 years in with a ton of accomplishments, but still a long way to go, and still managing anxiety and pressure and grit and grind of entrepreneurship together as a team. What would you say to us?
I would say the biggest, yes, Sal and I are wired very similarly. He is definitely a little bit more traditional in the way that he words things. And he's a little quieter and not as loud, but his brain is exactly the same as mine.
That's Eli.
Yeah, so when you hear me, you know, it's a little more intense. When you hear him, it's probably a little more palatable for people, just being real. So he is a tremendous leader, tremendous at everything. I mean, very competitive, dude. We get in a fist fight about once a year. Yeah, for real, dude. And,
we should fight it out.
The last time we stopped, the last time we got in a fight, when was that? Was that June? It was back in June.
2 weeks ago.
We got in a fist fight. And we both got hurt. And, like, we both hurt our shoulders, and what else did we do? So he hurt fucked his knee up. Yeah. So we got in this fight, and we both agreed afterwards. We're like, that's the last one, dude.
Like, no more.
I'm not doing, dude, because we were both hurt. And because he's a big dude too, man. I'm 270, he's 240.
Yeah, so, man, I mean, you guys are breaking shit.
Yeah, dude. It's like gorillas.
It's difficult for us, man, because Eli is a jiu-jitsu dude, and I'm a shooter.
I'm like
not rolling around him. I'm going to shoot his ass, and that's too. I can't shoot him in the leg.
Same with him and I.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I'm too fucking fat and lazy to fucking wrestle, bro. and so it is what it is. But I was telling DJ. DJ's my security guy, and one of my homies here. He's just sitting right here. I'm like, bro, from now on, if I ever get in a fight, we're gonna have to shoot somebody because I'm too lazy to fight.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. I know a guy that can do that.
He does great at that.
Absolutely, dude.
Yeah, he does great.
I know a guy.
But yeah, dude, I say the advice would be this, for real. This is real advice too, man. Mm-hmm. Respect each other's roles. Okay. Him and I, whenever we've had conflict over in life, it's because we weren't respecting each other's roles. We were challenging each other's roles. And, when you're that close with someone, it's easy to argue like a fucking liberal and just call people names and shit, right?
Yeah, right.
Like, hey, fuck you, you're being a bitch or this or that. And so when you start disrespecting someone for what they bring to the table, they feel less valued. That's where the conflict comes in. So what I've learned with him is like, he's very good at certain things, and I've started to respect those more. And as I've respected those more, he's respected my qualities more, which makes the relationship work much better.
Right.
So That's what I would say. Respect the roles, man. Know the roles and respect the roles, and realize that, like, hey, even when we're in conflict, even when we're heated, even when things aren't right, we're still working towards the same outcome, which is
we're on the
not
same
my
team.
outcome, not your outcome, but the best outcome.
Right. And it's easy when it's easy, but when you're having a difficult conversation, right, like any other relationship, you know, your wife or anything else, that's when you've got to like really pay attention to like being respectful, listening, you know, paying attention to, you know, being forgiving of how they choose to communicate, and just making sure that we both know we're on the same team. Cause, you know, like modestly, Eli's wrong a lot. And I just gotta be fucking patient, you know?
You guys sound just like us, bro.
Oh,
Dude,
man.
Just like us.
You and Will, man. As soon as I met Will, and I've been following you for a while, man. I met Will. I'm like, dude, you and fucking Andy are cut from the same exact cloth. The same fucking cloth, man. Like, good God.
Yeah.
Whatever you guys got is from the same place.
It's just, man, I just admire your ability to take care of people.
Will,
man.
you are a pretty good looking motherfucker. I'm just saying.
He is, man.
Dude,
he is.
if I could get that beard, man, and
Listen to you guys.
I would be all right.
Jesus.
I'm chasing you down though. I got you on my wall, dude, on my mirror. I'm trying to look like you, bro.
Thank you,
Oh,
bro.
man.
No, it's been a pleasure, man.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, you know, if we can ever, you know, connect in the future, if you ever want to
Bro,
come to,
I love to. You guys should come down and be on our show here.
We're on it,
you
man.
guys are
We'll
are
fly.
Colorado, both of you?
we're in
Yep,
Denver.
yep.
I will fly out there tonight if you need us to, man. Yeah, you say when.
Give us a couple months.
Yeah.
Shoot Emily a message, and we'll get you on, dude. We're gonna start having daily shows. So
Oh,
I would
perfect,
love to
man.
have you guys on. It'd be
Man,
awesome.
we'd love to fly in and do that. And obviously, man, like, you know, if you ever want to go blow some shit up or shoot machine guns out of helicopters with some Spartan 7 guys, man.
That's definitely something I'm totally not interested in.
Not at all.
Well, hey, man, it's just been fun on the podcast. You know, hopefully we'll be on yours very soon. You can come back on ours, but, you know, connecting in the future. But what a pleasure, man. And obviously anything that we can do to help you guys out, or, hey, if you ever need some veteran or some entrepreneur athletes, you know, on your staff, we'd be happy to do anything we could for you, man. But I'll throw our personal cell phone numbers on the email to Emily.
Okay.
Just in case
Yeah.
you're bored and you feel like hitting up your homie, dude. If they're around.
For sure, man. I'll get them from her for sure.
Right on.
Awesome.
Right on, man. Appreciate you giving us a couple more minutes. We knew you had a time hack. What a pleasure. Man, you're such a giver, dude. I really appreciate it. And personally, selfishly, there was just some things I was thinking today, and there's some anxiety a little bit I had, and we're managing well. We're struggling well. And some of the things that you said, man, were just so near and dear and close to my heart, especially with some things from my past and some things that you've gotten through that I still managed myself. It was man, it was touching. It was a huge gift that you gave today, and I appreciate that gift, man.
You're welcome, bro. Look, man, listen, this shit's hard. Okay. There's no secret to it, regardless of what, you know, and I love Gary Vee, but regardless of what Gary says or anybody else, this shit's fucking hard, and you're going to struggle. And if you're in it for the long haul, you're going to struggle mentally too.
Yeah.
And so my main mission and what I do with my social and content is to let people know that, because, dude, it's terrible to be on an island and think, fuck, dude, nobody gets it. No, dude, that's normal. We all feel that way at some points. And so that's really cool that you said that. But dude, at the end of the day, here's the secret. Get up every day, hold yourself to that personal standard that you know you need to hold yourself to, and execute. And one foot in front of the other, man. It's the only way to climb Mount Everest. You know, you can't wish your way to it.
Right.
So thank you guys so much for having me on. Thank you guys for supporting me, and everybody listening. Thank you guys so much as well. Really, really appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. We're gonna roll this outro for you. You got to hear a little bit more long cut, man, than you cut out whenever you got to. And I'll make sure we get our contact over to Emily and all that stuff. And we actually got to say hi to her earlier too, man, when they were setting your computer up. And
cool.
Super cool. We've got some great wives ourselves at home that are our support structure.
It's a big deal, bro.
Oh man, they're way smarter than us.
It is.
You know,
That's a fact.
they're all, so it was cool to say hi to her and thank her for her diving in and think that we'd be a great fit. And again, man, what a great gift, dude. Love you for that, man. And looking forward to reaching out and just connecting in the future, man.
Thanks, Will.
Awesome.
Thanks, Eli. Appreciate
All
you
right.
guys.
Likewise,
Thank
brother.
you guys, and for you
Play that
listeners
long
out
cut.
there.
Ah,
Here we go. Here we go.
That's good stuff right there, isn't it?